Hello there and welcome back to Good Sport Reviews. Right, so the Merseyside derby was this past weekend, and with that in mind, I thought it'd be the perfect time to talk about one of the most memorable of these derbies in the club's history. Not for what happened on the pitch, but for what happened off of it. On the 4th of October 2015, Liverpool and Everton drew 1-1, and this resulted in two huge things. Brendan Rodgers was sacked as Liverpool manager, and Thierry Henry finally got the chance to show his true feelings for Jamie Carragher. Oh, look at that face. Oh, look how cute. Today, we're going to focus on Brendan, and during his 3.5 years in charge, he spent around £292 million. A bit ridiculous considering Caicedo cost half of that, and his money was used to sign 33 players. And today, I've given myself the task of trying to rank them all in order from worst to best. So let's get into it. Number 33, Alan. Brendan Rodgers' final signing as Liverpool manager was definitely his worst, and for one simple reason: he never played. Signed for £500,000 in summer 2015 from Internacional, the Brazilian just couldn't get his work permit together and was loaned out 6 times before being sold in 2020 for £3 million. 32, Awoniyi. Rinse and repeat. He was at Liverpool 6 years, never played for the club, and was loaned out to a magnitude of teams, including to Frankfurt, Ghent, and Union Berlin, before moving to the latter for £6.5 million in July 2021. Number 31, Thiago Ilori. Signed from Sporting in the summer of 2013 for around £7 million, Ilori never made his mark at the club. Didn't even appear for the club until January 2016 against Exeter City in the FA Cup. 3 appearances later, and he was sold for £3.75 million to Reading. Highly uneventful. Number 30, Samid Yessil. Signed in August 2012 for £1 million, Yessil went on to only make 2 appearances for the club, which were both starts in the League Cup against West Brom and Swansea, the latter of which was a defeat, so points down for that. Left the club on his contract expiry in 2017, didn't live up to any potential that was brought in with him. 29, Adam Bogdan. When Bogdan was signed in June 2015, there was nothing special thought by Liverpool fans. He was a good keeper for Bolton, but he wasn't expected to push Mignolet for the number 1 spot. He did save 3 penalties in the shootout against Carlisle United in the League Cup, but then dropping the ball from a corner kick in a 3-0 defeat against Watford just doesn't fill fans with confidence. And after that, Liverpool fans were just happy to see the back of him. He was released by the club on the expiry of his contract. Number 28, Usama Assaidi. Assaidi joined Liverpool from Heerenveen for £2.4 million, and Brendan Rodgers said he was an exciting player who will excite the crowd. He was wrong. 12 appearances later and only 1 assist, and he was out the door after being sent out on loan to Stoke and eventually sold to Al Ahly for £4.7 million in 2015. He's the original Saudi player. 27, Lazar Markovic. Markovic was signed with all the hype in the world in the summer of 2014. He joined the club for around £20 million, and the thought was that he was going to become a regular in the first team and develop for years to come. He had 3 memorable moments for the club: his goal against Tottenham, his long-distance rocket against Sunderland, which was a bit of a false dawn, and his red card in the final group stage match against Basel in that year's Champions League. For the price paid for him and the lack of even good performances on the pitch, this is all the reason you need for him being ranked so low. Number 26, Iago Aspas. Well, this one was dreadful. Aspas signed for around £8 million from Celta Vigo in the summer of 2013 and didn't make any kind of memorable impact, playing third choice to Luis Suarez and Daniel Sturridge. And the fact that his most memorable moment was the terrible corner he took against Chelsea tells you all you need to know about his time at the club. Number 25, Ali Sissoko. Signed on loan from Valencia in the summer of 2013 as a deputy to Jose Enrique, Sissoko never looked comfortable in the league. He provided 1 assist and caused an own goal against Stoke City, but following an injury he suffered against Notts County, he fell out of favour at the club. Not a lot to say really. Tried it at Aston Villa, so, good for him. Good for him. Number 24, Mario Balotelli. Good God, I forgot how bad things were at this point. Following the sale of Luis Suarez, this was Brendan Rodgers' scrambled mess of an attempt to sign a striker after the failed pursuit of Alexis Sanchez. 4 goals, 1 meme, and terrible attitude problem got him nowhere, and he left the club for Nice in 2016. Good riddance, Mario. Number 23, Luis Alberto. Oh, this was what could have been. Not a lot to say about this one either, to be honest. Luis Alberto signed in the summer of 2013 and didn't pull up trees, but didn't do anything offensive either. One assist for Suarez in the 5-0 victory over Spurs was about all she wrote. He's since gone on to become one of the best players in the Liga and has been touted with multiple Premier League returns over the past few seasons. Number 22, Victor Moses. Fairly uninspiring loan move from Chelsea, Victor Moses never found himself in favour with Brendan Rodgers, despite scoring on his debut against Swansea, that is, in the League Cup, and he found himself gone after the loan ended. He went on to win a league title with Chelsea as a right wing-back, and honestly, I would have preferred him in our side over Glenn Johnson. It says a lot really, doesn't it? Number 21, Fabio Borini. Brendan Rodgers' first signing as Liverpool manager was not dreadful, but it definitely wasn't the best. Scored against FC Gomel in the Europa League, but then suffered a broken foot and was loaned out to Sunderland, where his most memorable Liverpool moment was the goal he scored against Chelsea in the title race in the 13-14 season. Bonus points for him for that, because he gave me one of my happiest memories as a Liverpool fan. Number 20, Nuri Sahin. Sahin was looked at as one of the biggest up-and-coming prospects in Europe when he joined Liverpool on loan from Real Madrid in August 2012. He started off like a house on fire, scoring 2 goals against West Brom and then scoring and assisting 2 in the 5-2 victory over Norwich City in the league. He left with 3 goals and 3 assists in 12 matches, but after leaving, he admitted he was never happy at the club and was happy to leave. Team player right there. His loan move was then terminated, but at least he had a good spell of form, unlike some of the previous players before him. 19, Javier Manquillo. And I'll be honest, I forgot this one was even a thing. Following Glenn Johnson's mixed bag of a 13-14 season, about as mixed as a bag of Haribo that's been in a blender, Manquillo was signed on loan from Atletico Madrid with the intention to make him one for the future. He won Liverpool a penalty against Ludogorets and scored a penalty in the shootout against Middlesbrough in the League Cup, but that's about it. He's now in Newcastle, which the fact he's still there today really does blow my mind. How is he still at Newcastle? Number 18, Ricky Lambert. I felt sorry for Ricky Lambert when he joined the club. It was great to see a lifelong Liverpool fan join the club, and while £4 million is a small investment, Ricky Lambert had the task of trying to follow up behind Luis Suarez following his departure. It was never going to work, but Lambert played with passion, and the crowd surfer moment against Aston Villa following his goal made it worth it at least. Also, side note, best penalty taker in English football history, and anyone who disputes that, you're wrong. I'm sorry. Number 17, Alberto Moreno. Look, this one was difficult to rank. On one hand, Moreno was brought in with plenty of expectation and he became a sort of Jekyll and Hyde figure around Anfield. For every Tottenham goal and Sturridge dance, there was a performance like the Europa League final against Sevilla, which had both sets of fans thinking he was still on the Spanish club's payroll. He was released in the summer of 2019 after we signed him for £12 million, so there is a financial loss there. Number 16, Danny Ings. Injuries can ruin the best of careers, and while Danny Ings wasn't the greatest player ever, he was a decent goal poacher for Burnley before Liverpool got him on a free transfer in July 2015. He scored Brendan Rodgers' final goal as Liverpool manager in the aforementioned Merseyside derby against Everton, but knee injuries kept him out of the side for over 18 months. And while it might be a slightly higher spot on the list than many think he deserves, he didn't particularly do anything wrong during his spell at Liverpool. And I remember going to Anfield when Liverpool beat Watford 5-0, and despite Salah scoring 4 of those goals, Danny Ings was the player most cheered about when he came on the pitch and nearly scored. The club sold him to Southampton for £18 million, so good profit there. Number 15, Kolo Touré. This signing was bizarre to say the least. Signed on a free transfer from Man City in 2013, Kolo became something of a fan favourite because of his attitude and personality. He did cost us 2 points by passing the ball to Victor Anichebe in a 2-2 draw, look at that face, and he did score an own goal against Fulham, but we all remember that performance at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid in the Champions League, where Kolo Touré evolved into Yaya Touré and stole the show. Number 14, Nathaniel Clyne. When Clyne joined Liverpool from Southampton for around £12.5 million in the summer of 2015, he was expected to finally be the replacement of Glenn Johnson, and in a way he was. He looked solid and didn't particularly put a foot wrong, but injuries plagued his time at Liverpool, and because of this, he was eventually replaced by Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. He joined Bournemouth on loan before eventually leaving the club in 2019. Number 13, Christian Benteke. Benteke was signed as Brendan Rodgers' final attempt to replace the huge bite mark-shaped hole left by Luis Suarez. He signed for £32.5 million from Aston Villa, which isn't cheap, but he actually wasn't too bad for the club. He didn't score 20 plus goals like some expected, but he did score 10 goals and register 5 assists, including the memorable bicycle kick against Manchester United, and Liverpool did earn their money back when they sold him to Crystal Palace for £32 million. Number 12, Joe Allen. Joe Allen was described by Brendan Rodgers as the Welsh Xavi, and when he arrived at the club in 2012, I swear that man was drinking cough medicine or something. But despite that being an unrealistic comparison, Joe Allen actually performed fairly well for the club, especially when Jurgen Klopp took over. He became a key player in the team and had a few memorable moments, most notable of which was the last-minute equaliser against Arsenal, which sent Jurgen Klopp sprinting down the touchline like a madman, and we sold him for £13 million in Stoke 2016, where he remained for 6 years, where until now he has recently moved to Swansea. Number 11, Simon Mignolet. Mignolet joined in 2013 from Sunderland, and on his debut he saved a penalty from Jonathan Walters in the 89th minute. Look at Gerrard celebrate, he punches him in the face. Can't go wrong, and to be honest, during this stint at the club, he was fairly effective. He wasn't a ball-playing goalkeeper, which Klopp wanted, but he was a decent shot stopper, and despite Brendan Rodgers trying to drop him for Brad Jones and Klopp bringing in Loris Karius, he was still a good backup or starting keeper. He was sold in 2019 to Club Brugge. Number 10, Dejan Lovren. Lovren was culpable to a mistake, and whenever he started the game there was a feel of panic surrounding it, but despite that he was a decent enough centre-back at the time, and following Klopp's arrival he started to become more of a leader and scored the vital goal in Liverpool's 4-3 comeback over Dortmund to send us into the Europa League semi-finals, so he will be remembered for that. While he wasn't the most composed on the ball, he certainly wasn't the worst centre-back ever and was part of our Champions League winning squad in 2019. Number 9, Mamadou Sakho. It was a bit of a toss-up between Sakho and Lovren. The former captain of PSG signed for Liverpool for £18 million and started pretty well with Brendan Rodgers describing him as a beast in training. Oh, Brendan. I'm amazed he didn't describe him as the French Xavi. And he played a big part in Liverpool's title challenge in the 13-14 season and was a crucial player when Brendan Rodgers switched to a back three in 2014. Under Klopp, he also went from strength to strength with the German praising his excellent form. He was dropped from the Europa League final match though, however, following dope allegations, and was eventually demoted from the squad after being late for a flight and a team meal during Liverpool's pre-season tour of America, and he never featured for the club again before being sold to Crystal Palace. Number 8, Emre Can. Signed in the summer of 2014 from Bayern Leverkusen, Emre Can was touted as a future star for Liverpool, as he was only 20 when he signed for £10 million. He had a poor injury record at the start of his career, but came back as a key player for the team moving forward, as part of a back three at times and eventually moving into the midfield under Jurgen Klopp. Memorable moments include the goals against Hoffenheim to qualify Liverpool for the Champions League and a spectacular bicycle kick against Watford, which won him goal of the season in the 16-17 campaign. He left the club amicably at the end of his contract to join Juventus. Number 7, Adam Lallana. Signed from Southampton in 2014 for around £25 million, Adam Lallana was touted as a starter for both England and Liverpool, and while his form at the start of the season didn't exactly reflect that, his time under Jurgen Klopp saw Lallana become one of the best ball pressers in the league. During his 6 years at the club, Lallana scored 22 goals and registered 21 assists, and had some great goals including the Europa League semi-final against Villarreal, the winning goal against Manchester United at Old Trafford, and of course the winning goal in the 5-4 thriller against Norwich City, where Klopp decided that he didn't need the gift of sight anymore. Number 6, Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez was signed from Charlton with little to no expectation from fans. However, he's gone on to become one of the longest serving players at the club currently. He's yet to score a goal for the club, but for the fee of £3.5 million, Liverpool signed a player who's gone on to feature 183 times for the club. He's become a key component in the back line at times, including in the 18-19 season alongside Virgil van Dijk, and while severe injuries have limited him at times, there is no denying that he is a versatile player who can still compete for a starting spot in the team today. Number 5, Divock Origi. For memorable moments, no one, and I mean no one on this list can match Divock Origi's contribution to Liverpool Football Club. Signed for £10 million in 2014 before going back to Lille on loan, Origi became known as the definition of an impact player. In his 175 appearances for the club, he scored 41 goals, including a last-minute winner against Everton, a last-minute winner against Newcastle, 2 goals against Barcelona in one of the greatest Champions League comebacks in history, a Champions League final goal against Tottenham, and a bicycle kick winner against Arsenal. Multiple Merseyside derby goals, and because of this, he is legend and deserves a statue. Let's not deny it anymore. Number 4, Daniel Sturridge. We said earlier that injuries affected the career of Danny Ings, and the exact same can be said for Daniel Sturridge. Signed in 2012 from Chelsea, he instantly went on a tear for the club, scoring 10 goals in his first 14 appearances for the team, and he went on to score 21 in the following season after forming the deadly SAS partnership with Luis Suarez. However, following this season, he never made more than 20 league appearances due to the magnitude of injuries that he suffered. He is without a doubt one of the biggest what-if stories in the Premier League, and despite these injuries, he did go on to score against Man City, Chelsea, PSG, and won multiple trophies with Liverpool. Number 3, Felipe Coutinho. In terms of natural talent, Coutinho may have a case for being top of this list. He signed from Inter Milan in 2013, and this was one time where Rodgers' attempt at signing young prospects really paid off. His start was rocky, but he went on to become a key part of the team for the next 5 seasons. He scored 54 goals and provided 43 assists, developed the signature goal by cutting in onto his right and curling it into the goal with finesse. He scored fantastic goals against the likes of Bolton, Stoke, Manchester United in the Europa League, where he chipped David De Gea, and a hat-trick in the Champions League against Spartak Moscow. He did leave the club in pretty foul fashion in January 2018, but he left for £105 million, and that money was used to invest in Van Dijk, Alisson and Fabinho, so all's well that ends well. Number 2, James Milner. Without a doubt, the best free signing in Liverpool history. James Milner joined the club and was viewed as the experience the team needed following the departure of Steven Gerrard, and he went on to become one of the staples of the side. He made 332 appearances for the club, played as a left-back at times during Klopp's first full season, what a genius, scored the winning penalty against Leicester during Liverpool's title-winning season, and won every trophy there was to win in the club before leaving for Brighton this past summer. Undoubtedly one of the biggest legends in the club's history, and will go down as one of the best bargains in Premier League history. Number 1, Roberto Firmino. Well, this one's just obvious, wasn't it? Firmino was an unpolished diamond during Rodgers' time at the club, but once Klopp came and put him into that false 9 role in the middle of the pitch, he became one of the best players in the world, with Klopp himself describing him as the catalyst of the team. He formed part of the front three, including himself, Salah and Mane, went on to score 111 goals and provide 72 assists in 362 appearances for the club. He went on to score some of the classiest goals for the Reds, including the volley against Stoke City, the chip against Manchester City in the Champions League, the back heel against Watford in the 5-0 win we mentioned earlier, and the long ranger into the top corner against Arsenal in Klopp's first season. Firmino is a legend of the club and will be remembered as one of the greatest players in the club's history, and because of this, it almost makes up for his signing Lazar Markovic.